Welcome, everyone, today to our practice of Yin Yoga. I'm really excited to share this form of yoga with everyone today. I'm Debbie Nolan with Henrico Recreation and Parks, and today I have Anna Trong with Henrico Recreation and Parks as well. So we will be demonstrating the different poses throughout our practice today. Now, Yin is a little bit of a different form of yoga. It's very restorative in nature. We hold the poses longer because we work deeper inside of the body. So we will talk more about that as we move along through the practice. Now, if you don't have a yoga mat, remember you can have a beach towel to work on. Or if you've got nice carpet, you can lay on that, but I find the carpet gets itchy sometimes. You'll need blocks or a pillow, preferably a firmer one, but you don't need a strap for our practice of Yin. As we move through Yin, our goal, and we like to say we're not goal-driven, but your prime focus is to be relaxed in the pose and let go of conscious holding within the pose. So that makes the practice itself restorative, but it works in a totally different way. It's more meditative, meaning we're in the poses longer, and it's a quieter practice. Don't fight the poses while we're in them, and you'll know what I mean as we move towards them. So if you have your blocks and you have everything in your space and you're dressed comfortably, let's start. So today we're going to stretch our legs out to begin our first pose. In Yin, the names of the poses are totally different from any other style of yoga because the intention within the pose is different from the traditional one. So what we think of as seated forward fold, this is caterpillar in Yin. So you'll want to take your blocks or your pillow, place them on your thigh, and we're going to fold forward, allow your shoulders to come in front of your hips, and right here on the edge, if you have a block on the edge of the groove, you want to place it right here and flow forward just like you have your eyes on sunglasses or your regular glasses. Then place your hands on your shin bones or your thighs, palms up, and fingers just relaxed. So if you do not have blocks or that's not working for you, just sit up, relax your spine, and bring your chin to your chest. So as you're in the pose, you want to allow your body parts to always be supported. In Yin, that allows you to allow the legs to relax. Even here, your toes might flow over to the side a bit, and that's okay. In Yin, we're working deeper into the body, into the connective tissues, and all of the structures around our joints that hold together the framework of our skeleton. It increases the blood flow in those areas, and it allows us to really focus in our mind. So just as we move in most classes, allow yourself to focus on your breath, the flow in and the flow out of your breath, and then start to notice where you're feeling yourself holding in the pose. Now, in most classes and in most fitness endeavors, we don't give the time for the body to react to things. The mind is telling the body what to do. Let's do it. Let's do it. In Yin, we let the body take the lead. Let the mind shut off and turn over authority to the body and allow it to lead us through our practice. So here, let's leave outside the door the busyness of the day, of anything that's distracting or at the forefront of your mind. And just allow yourself to be present. Notice any stressors that you may have mentally or physically. And remember, we work to what we feel here on the mat. Breathe, be, and feel. Good. So after a few moments, you notice that the body allows itself to start to release into the pose. Good. Now, to give the body time for this, we give ourselves a few extra moments in these poses, and we hold the poses longer. We usually hold them anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes. Today, we're going to be in about the 3-minute range on most things. But you're not going to actually notice that because yin will flow by fairly quickly because you're relaxing the mind's control and letting the body lead you. Good. So let's inhale and float our head up. Hold those blocks as you come back up so they don't float away because they truly get a mind of their own. Good. And just hold on to one. So that was caterpillar. So now we're going to think about a pose called running deer. So in running deer, let's sit the block to the side. We're going to lean to the side and we're going to bend our knees, one inward and one outward. So come towards me. Yes. Good. And bring the bottom leg forward. There we go. Now, as we sit here, first thing you want to notice is, are you in connection with the mat beneath each leg? You may not be on the leg that's turned back. If not, you can put the block underneath your bun and back, and that's your sit bun. Good. And you also can put a hand in front, a hand to the side, lift up, shift a little bit, and that'll allow the inwardly bent leg to relax a bit. So then we can take a block, have it around here, because we're going to use it in a moment. I'm going to shift around so you'll be able to see that a bit better now that we see where our legs are. You know, deer take shelter during the course of the day, and so we never see them because they're curled up in grass under a tree. So what we want to think about here first is, let's bring the block to the side and put our elbow on it. Keep the backwardly turned leg down. Lift your top arm up. Good. Now turn the whole arm towards the rear of the room. Bring it behind your back and let it just drape down your back like a waterfall. Now you might slip your fingertips into the belt of your pants. Again, your body is anchoring your arm. Here, just allow yourself to glance upward. Good. So once your body is in position, shut your eyes and notice where you're holding tight. Now here, we're probably holding tight in our hips, and if you are, take a few breaths and allow yourself to relax into the pose. Now I say shut your eyes because all of that visual stimulus distracts us. And so when we shut our eyes, it brings our awareness inward so that we can feel the pose. You can feel where you're holding the muscles because our guide and goal is to relax into the pose. Release into the pose. So think of it more as release and the relaxation as a byproduct. So as you're breathing, we're using steady breath right here. And even here, notice the inhalation lifts the chest and exhales. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. Now this is running deer, and we're going to do two variations of it. Very, very nice. Now you can let your head relax down towards that shoulder if you like. And that would be the supportive shoulder. Good, and stay lifted in your torso even though you're leaning towards the side. Very, very, very nice. Now, especially in your hip, if you feel tight in this area here, which would be where the torso joins in with the top of the leg, just place your hand there. And just allow the weight of your hand, the gravity of your hand in that area to relax it down. You can also turn your head and look at the supporting hand if you like. Very nice. Now, let us think, glance open your eyes again, and let us think about the legs staying in the same position, right where they are now. But we're going to bring that upper shoulder down towards the mat to join the other arm. So place the hands down on the outside of the outwardly bent leg. Lift up. Now shift yourself a little bit so that now you feel like your torso is parallel coming past your thigh. Now you have the choice of having your hands on both sides of the mat at an angle out from your shoulder. Good. You can bend your elbows. you can work your way down. You might end up being on your block. So let's start up here. Good. You might need to shift your bottom forward just a little bit towards your knees. That will help you in the rotation. Good. So here, just allow yourself, you can let your chin come to your chest for the moment. Good. Relax in your lower body from the waist down. Good. Even keep your toes still if possible. Good. And as you feel your body start to release, you might be able to work your way down to the mat proper, or you might be on one block or two. You can put the blocks out and be on each block and put the palms together, chin toward your chest. So nice variation here that you can try. And sometimes it's better to use the blocks in the interim and then work your way lower. Good. So as we pause here, just examine your body with your mind and notice the places that are resistant, and direct your breath in the sense of, you know where those spots are very tight. So inhale in, and when you exhale, see if you can release or relax into that pose. So the release is releasing the tension away, or settle into the pose. Now, one thing about yin is that if you move into the pose and you're not settled, you can't find release or being settled in the pose, then come out of it and move back into it to find that place where you can find stillness in the pose. You may find after a few moments you can go a little bit deeper. So if that's the case, you can keep the blocks or you can come all the way down to the mat. Good. If that's not doable for you today, then you stay on the blocks. No worries. No foul if you go back to the blocks, so it's all good. Find the place that works for you today. While you're in the pose, let the mind stay quiet. Perhaps you imagine the rain on the roof, or perhaps you have nice quiet music going on in the background. And even if it's the stillness of a silent room, just allow yourself to be in the midst of it and have it expand around you. Good, let's have 2 more breaths here, and then we'll move out of running deer. So that breath is just your inhale and the exhale, and then on your 3rd inhale, let's move up. Remember, everybody's length of breath will be different, so if you're practicing with someone else, you don't have to wait for the other person. Just work your way back up. Good, so as you come up first to the beginning position, then let's take that arm that's closest to your knees and bring it behind your body. Float the knees up and then slide your feet forward again. Now this time, as you slide your feet forward, open your legs wide. Good. Now in traditional yoga, we call this legs wide pose. Viparta Kanari. Nope, that's legs up the wall pose. Prasarta Padattanasana. So here, just let the legs relax, because remember, this is yin. The legs relax. Good. You can use your blocks again, one or both. It's up to you. Good. We put them in front. Good. And we just flow forward to the blocks. Relax downward, chin towards your chest. Let your legs go wherever they go, turning in or turning out. Good. If you're not settled, shift a little bit from side to side so you can feel the 2 halves of your pelvis relax down. Good, and then just find that steady breath again. Direct the breath all the way to the space right there beneath your shoulder blades and down further. Imagine your breathing space in between each of the vertebrae in your spine, just relaxing down. Just steady breath. In Yin, we call this pose dragonfly, full dragonfly. So imagine perhaps in your mind the dragonfly floating around water, the pool, a pond. Those nice long wide wings. And then just checking in and noticing where you may feel tension in the pose. If you feel tension in an area, perhaps sometimes you tighten that area, and then on the exhale, relax it purposefully and allow it to be. Be there, be present. Now you notice as we're in the pose, after a few moments, you can feel your spine release. And you may find that you can move the blocks away and go a bit deeper. But again, you may be all the way up here. No worries, it's the same benefit. Chin against your chest. Remember, it's in the letting go that we create opportunities. We don't have to be in charge. The body can tell us when it's ready. Very nice. So as we come out of full butterfly, we'll flow back upright. Good. You might want your blocks, place them on the opposite side from before. Good. So Anna and I will be turning away from each other now. And so I'm going to shift a little bit towards her. I'm going to bend my knees up, as you will, and then turn your knees in the other direction. So slip the top leg back, bottom leg forward for running deer. Now, first thing, find the place where you're settled in the pose. Good. Just allow this back leg to be relaxed. If you feel tension right here, place your hand there first, and we'll pause for a moment until you feel yourself let go in that area. Now, Yin, just like any other form of yoga, you never want to feel sharp shooting pains. And it's not just in yoga, it's in any form of exercise. So if you feel grumpy reaction from the body because you haven't been somewhere like this in a while, that's totally different than a sharp shooting pain. So part of the mental practice is to allow yourself to just be here for a few moments. So keeping the hand right there, slide one of your blocks over, and then exhale, allow yourself to put the elbow on the block and then flow down. And normally when that happens, your leg will give in, that area will relax. If it's not, keep your hand there. If it has relaxed for you and said, okay, I'm ready, then float that same arm up, turn it to the wall behind you, and allow the arm to go behind your back, reaching down towards the floor like a waterfall. Have the whole arm touching your body. So no gap at your elbow, but all the way down. Let your whole arm be cradled by your body, supported by your body. Good, and look up over your shoulder. Good, shut your eyes when you get there. So again, running deer. Now you're going to notice that perhaps your pelvis is elevated on the back leg side. And if it is, just shift a little bit. If you need to shift to find that spot where you can settle totally, do it. Find that place where you can find release in the pose. Now, oftentimes our neck will get grumpy in these poses, but we do in yoga work to strengthen and lengthen the muscles in our neck. We carry a lot of tension in our society in our upper shoulders and the upper back and in our neck. So given your personal situation with your neck, perhaps you look over your shoulder. If that is not working for you, you can look towards the elbow that's on the floor. So listen to your body as to what it will let you do, and then allow yourself to relax into the pose. Find steady breath. And find that place where there's just a little bit of tension. You never realized you held tension in that spot. Maybe it's right in the middle of your pelvis where it joins in with the spine. Maybe it's in your shoulders. Maybe you're frowning. Smile, even if your eyes are closed. Then relax the smile. Really stay in touch with what you're feeling in your body. Notice how this side of the body is different from the other side, remembering your strong, dominant side versus the flexible side governed by the moon. Good, and as you start to feel things release and relax, remember if you need to reposition, do so. Good, and we're going to move into the second variation of running deer we're doing today. So let's look back up towards the sky if we're looking down, and then float the top arm back up to the sky. Good, now let's bring that hand to the mat in front of the knee, and then turn our whole body towards the side. Now as we do that, you may find that you feel kind of cramped up. So if you do, just shift a little bit, bring that back leg forward a little bit. Remember to have your blocks there because you may want to, you don't have to be identical on both sides, but it's usually helpful if you do the same series with your arms. So we bring both elbows down to the blocks perhaps, but perhaps you're up here and that's okay too. So find the spot where you are today. Perhaps you're elevated. That's all right. Let your chin come to your chest. And then as you feel the body start to allow you to rotate downward, then perhaps you come to the blocks and you pause here. Again, let the body tell you if it wants to go deeper. How do you know when the body's going to tell you? Well, you'll feel it release. You'll feel it soften. You'll feel it quit resisting what you're trying to do here. Remember, you're working deeper into the body. So it's got to have time, and you have to have attention to be able to tell when you've reached that point. So let's chin to the chest. Let's have our chin move there. So the head's supported. And then release. Good. Here, imagine each breath you take flowing right into your back. Imagine it flowing in between each of the ribs, just like the muscles floating in between each rib. All of those muscles are called the intercostal muscles. They help us breathe by moving the ribs. I always like to think of them as intercostal waterways for your breath. Now, after a few moments, again, you may find that you could move down to your block or even down to the mat. It just depends on where you're at today in your practice. So no forcing. Allow the body to say, I can go deeper if you want to. If your body goes, nah, don't think so, then go back to the last variation of the pose you were at. You don't want to feel like you're forcing here. You want to feel like it flows into the pose, flows deeper. Yin is one of those practices where when you're in it, it's just being present. You're not worrying whether you have to go to the right or the left. You're just where you are and releasing in this pose, going deeper, feeling more, and working towards balance in your body and in your mind. You know, oftentimes we have a lot of trouble finding balance in our lives. Well, let's start with ourselves and in our minds, and at even that first level in your body. Good. As the body starts to release, just allow yourself to feel the moment. To be here
and to be experiencing the joy and the miracles of our body. You know, yoga is the perfect practice for everyone, no matter what our physical body looks like or where we are mentally. It helps bring us both together with the breath. So on our next inhale, let's go ahead and bring the hands back to the mat. If they're on the blocks or if you're on your elbows, come back up. And then just pause there for a moment in the more upright position. Good, and then looking towards your feet, just float that arm back behind you and float your knees up so your legs can go back out straight. Good, and as you do that, just reposition for a moment. Maybe you need to shift a little bit side to side. Good, and wiggle your toes as we move into our next pose. Now we're going to use our blocks again, but you can at home, once again, feel free to use your pillows and so forth. Now in this pose, we're going to really open our heart to finish out today's practice. As we do that, we're going to place the blocks behind our back. So it's really going to open up your heart. Remember, I've said before, opening your heart is lifting your sternum and letting all the muscles relax to the side. So the pattern you're going to be using, and Anna, you can just stay where you are at the moment, but we'll take the block so that the blocks to the side over your shoulder blades and the blocks like this under your head. Good, so we come like so, and we float back to the mat. Now it's very important that the block itself is under your shoulder blades. Now my first try, it's too far, not far enough up. So once I'm in place, I bring the block beneath my head and open up. Good, so is your chest going to be elevated? Yes. Good, so make sure that your shoulder blades are on the block. So go ahead and join me, Miss Anna. Good, and I'll check where you're at. Good. Now, bend your knees and put your feet on the floor. Good. Good, put your feet there. Now, very nice. Now, just let the arms relax out. Good, you can have your knees bent in this pose. You can also have your arms out like the letter T, or you can have them very much where they're at, like Anna's are right now. Good. The big thing is when you move into this pose at first, you might find it really strong in your back. So what you might want to do is bend your knees. So if you bend your knees and you're in the pose for a few moments, good, find where you start to release and relax. Good. Then you may find that you want to bring your feet in butterfly, or you can stretch your legs out all the way. But when you're here, find that place where you can be released and relaxed in the pose. Good. And relax your neck as well. Now, if your shoulders feel like they're up towards your ears, just shift a little bit on the block and allow the arms to relax down. Good. Let your legs, if they're out straight, relax to the sides. And here, everything in your upper torso is going to passively open. So if you find a spot where you're very tight, you're holding. So take a big inhale and exhale, and then just allow yourself, perhaps you notice a spot, and find these spots one by one, and when you exhale, allow them to release. This is melting heart, and it is a supported back bend. So with all people, back bending poses, you have to be aware of your spine, and either you do or not do, or perhaps you stay in them a little shorter period of time. You may find with the 3 different leg positions that one of them works a little better for you than the other. Bending the knees with the feet on the floor is probably the most accessible variation all the way down to the legs straight. So it's just whichever one allows you to release in the pose. Here especially, you can really feel your heart is open. You can feel all of the muscles in the upper torso open. This pose is especially good for the fact that we spend so much time in our lives forwardly oriented, that our shoulders start to move forward. We have to really think about sitting up straight and drawing those shoulders back here. Just allow gravity to open up those areas. Once you're settled in the pose, again, let your eyes shut or be closed halfway and allow yourself to be within the mind and released within the body. Perhaps you let your breath flow all the way down, in through the nose, down the back of the throat, and all the way into the very base of your lungs, to its fullest capability of expansion. And then in reverse, from the base of the lungs, under the heart, to the collarbones, and back out again. So if you're a person that likes things by numbers, perhaps you breathe in for 4. And then pause for a 2. Then breathe back out for 4. And in for 2. Hold. And then in for 4. So you're holding for 2 at the top and bottom of the breath, and then breathing for 4, whether you're inhaling or exhaling. So flow with your breath. Good, and as you start to release here, let's breathe here one more time, and then we'll move into a side lying position. And as you exhale, let's bend our knees. If the legs are straight, bring the knees up. And in this case, Anna and I are going to turn towards each other off of the blocks. And as we do that, you're going to bring your arm over the top and use your bottom arm for a pillow. And just pause. Good, don't worry about the blocks. Good, and the top arm can reach up and go behind your back one more time and just relax down. As you're here, perhaps you send a positive thought out to the very first person who pops into your mind. You always think about that person first because they really need that note of encouragement from you. Then let's bring our arm back to the front of our body. Good. And then just keeping your eyes closed, let your head be the last thing that comes back as you come to a seated position upright. Now, whatever seated position you like is fine. So use that top arm and help press yourself back up to seated position. Try to keep your eyes shut if possible. If not, that's okay too. Good. Keep looking downward. As you come into your seated position, whether your legs are straight or whether your legs are crossed, whatever works. Good. Just sit up nice and tall, and we'll close our practice today and seal it. So the hands can be on your thighs, palms up, sharing that positive energy, or you can bring your hands to heart center in the Anjali Mudra, whichever you like.
the light that shines from within each of us present here today is shared and magnified by our joint efforts in our practice. We share that same positive energy as we move through life and off the mat. Thank you for letting me lead your practice today. Namaste.